In this video, I'm looking at some landscape seascape photography. I've come up to the Northumberland Coast for a week, and this morning I've got up early for hopefully a sunrise, and I've come to Embleton Beach to photograph on the beach and hopefully get Dunstanburgh Castle in the background. The sunrise wasn't quite as good as I'd hoped. There was some colour in the sky, but there's been a big bank of cloud sort of over there, and the colours were okay, but they weren't as nice as I thought they'd be. But there has been some nice foreground interest. I've been doing some long exposures, getting some movement on the water as the water's coming in and crashing over the rocks and on the beach, and hopefully got some nice reflection shots. I've been using the OM1mkII this morning and using the Live ND Grad just to hold a little bit of detail on the sky. Today's forecast for blue sky most of the day, so what I'll be doing is going on to other locations, scouting them up, hopefully perhaps for more sunrise pictures during the week. Fingers crossed the weather will be okay. So this morning I've come back to Embleton Bay. It's the second morning, and today I've got a lot better sunrise. You can see the colours over there are absolutely stunning, and I'm not having to use any filters or anything at all. I'm getting a perfectly balanced exposure, and the sky is just holding that horizon there with this lovely light coming up there. So there's some beautiful light on the actual shoreline. What I'm actually using is the 12 to 40mm 2.8. I've got it set at 12mm, and what I'm actually doing is using this rock, solitary rock there, as foreground interest to lead into the picture. And I'm using a cable release so I don't actually get any camera shake. I'm stopped down to f8 and I'm getting 1/4 of a second there. That looks really nice. Now in post-production those colours are really going to jump out. So this is what it looks like on the back of the screen. The colours in that sky are absolutely fantastic. So what I've done here is put the 8 to 25mm on. Now the sun's just starting to come up above the horizon. I'm getting some burnout there. So what I'm actually going to do is actually do an HDR shot. So what I'll do is put it on HDR, take 7 pictures. So make sure that I am going to get some detail in that sun. Just check the focusing. That looks good. So what I'm going to do now is, as that sun's coming up, I'm going to be looking around for different compositions, different foreground interest, and the light's going to look beautiful on the actual sand. We'll just see what we get. So this morning I've come to Bamburgh Castle to photograph a sunrise. Unfortunately, it's been one of those mornings where the sunrise really didn't work out. There was some colour there, but it just didn't materialise. And I have got some pictures that I'm reasonably happy with, but not quite what I was after. The forecast was for a good sort of sunrise, but there's actually some colour now behind that cloud. Sunrise was about 7:05. It's about 20 past now, so I don't really think we're going to get anything. But I might carry on for a little bit longer and see what we get. So there is actually starting to get a little bit of colour where the sun's behind that cloud, and it's just starting to catch the sand there. Now I'm not actually photographing the castle this morning, I'm actually photographing out towards the Farn Isles and that sort of thing. The reason is the sun's actually coming up that way. Now there's no colour. Castle is over there and there's no colour behind it at all. So you photograph towards where the colour is. And certainly today the colour is over there. So what I'm actually going to do is probably I'm using the 8-25 at the moment. What I'll do is I'll take that off, put the 12-40 on and go over there. Perhaps maybe get a decent shot over there. So what I'm going to do is carry on taking pictures, change the framing, change the composition, change the foreground interest, and hopefully get some reasonable shots. So here I've gone a little bit wider. Again, I'm using a bracketed exposure because that sun's really starting to get very, very bright now. It's looking quite good on the back of the camera. So one piece of kit that I really find useful for landscape seascapes is actually an L bracket. So I can very, very quickly change from landscape to portrait format, and makes taking the pictures and just changing the format very, very easily. Now I'm having to constantly change the exposure as that light's changing, but there's some quite nice clouds. The sun's really catching those clouds up there. So what I'm actually going to do is go back to the 8-25mm so I can get all those clouds in there in the top. Now one thing I am doing is I'm focusing manually so that I can actually check to see that I've got it sharp from foreground onto the horizon. When I used to use a Canon system and I had a DSLR, I used to use the depth of field button. I'd stop down, check the depth of field with the depth of field button. Now I use focus peaking. What that means is that the area that you're focusing on will go red, which is very, very useful. That I can see exactly what's in focus and what isn't. There's actually now starting to get some clouds behind the castle there. There's no light on the castle or anything like that, but I'll take a few pictures anyway.